All right, the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq 100. So when we jump into the Nasdaq specifically, today was a really interesting week and it was a really interesting day in general. So the first thing I'll do is start here at the 4 hour and really track what's happened here on the week. You know, we go back to Monday, obviously it was a decent day, kind of down, popping back up. But then going into Tuesday, we had that downside, which brought us really down to the bottom of this range where we kind of sat until today, right? Where we sat in this little box for 4 days, roughly three and a half days, right? And that's where we sat. And I've been vocal that this was pretty much terrible trading in my opinion in that session. You can go like to the 1 hour and really see how that action, it was terrible, right? Now, there was a few things today that were kind of interesting, right? So we can see that if you don't know that you had your unemployment data and non-farm payrolls and those came out beneficial and the market loved it, right? So immediately you pop up, you come into resistance. We mentioned 20,255. It was your previous high from back here, August 22nd. After you kind of came into rejected and then kind of just instantly sold off, and then the rest of the day made higher lows. Now, worth mentioning the rest of the day here too. I would have said out of the gate, like this was terrible action. This is not what you wanted to see here on the Nasdaq. But the fact that you reject and then you just make higher lows for the rest of the day and just come back up, not terrible, right? Now, I don't want to jump as far as say that you have clear-cut continuation, you're flying, this or that. But besides that, like overall looking at this, you can't be that displeased, right? Now, a few things here. You can see like you kind of broke out of the range that you were sitting in here. And you can really see that buyers really try to keep you out of that range for a bulk of the day, right? Very clear to see that as well. Now we go into ES, and again, we look at S&P futures, and I mean, you're still incredible here, right? S&P 500 futures, you know, you're still sitting, you know, above previous all-time highs, you know, 57.82. We've talked about that a few times here. But really look at the action here. Like you get that drop down to support. Again, your SR level, clear SR flip, previous resistance, now turn support. Tons of buyers showing up there, increased volume out of that level, right? Worth mentioning. And then you go back into today in similar action, higher lows, you know, from the overnight session into today, popping back up, back at basically 5,800, which was that, you know, previous high level we broke out September 19th. So all in all, pretty incredible. Things that you should be looking at and be like, man, this looks exciting. This looks good. This is what you want to see right now. And ultimately, when I look at this, I'm like, this all in all, the week closed decent. Now, a few things that are out there still is you still have your Israel-Iran conflict. The United States has said that Israel is not done. They're going to basically do something else to Iran, whoever. I'm not going to get into that right now. But again, so I don't think that conflict is over. But what's worth mentioning is that these conflicts, in my opinion, continue to be massive buying opportunities across the board, like we've kind of said here. So I don't want to give a timeline ever of, okay, this is when the conflict is over and this is when you're going to moon and you're going to make a lot of money here. I don't want to say that. Let's talk about the names that I like and overall what I'm looking at in this market. So right now, again, this is what I'm looking at right now. And you look really good going into next week. And again, this isn't just tech or anything like that. I mean, you go look at the Dow. You know, Dow is sitting at all-time highs, basically trending, right? Your wick up here at 43K, but all in all, trending basically at the all-time high breakout point. So still really good overall, right? Let's jump into SPY, look at Qs as well. SPY, again, you know, really quickly just getting rid of all the drawings here so you can see. I mean, you're clear as day. Clear as day, there's no question about it. You know, mounted. This was your previous high back here in July. We had it marked out, 565, came down to it, bounced, popped right back up. All in all, SPY continues to look incredible. I mean, it's where you're at. Okay, Qs, again, definitely lagging behind here, but back almost above that 488 level, above 48. We talked about it. Most likely pushing into 494 and then 500, right? So 494. So if you hold this level going into Monday, again, you look really good. Like these are the same things over and over and over. So going more into equities and things we like there, right? First up, I really want to look at semiconductors as a whole, SMH. Again, as long as you're above 239, you guys know where I stand. I'm very bullish on semiconductors above that level. You had a little bit of a breakout here at the end of the day at 244, continuing that push to the upside right now. Worth mentioning, okay? Something I mentioned on Twitter. If you're not following on Twitter, I recommend doing so. I was very big. I talked about, you know, AMD earlier today when you're like below like 170, you're like at 168, 167. You ended up actually dipping down to 165 and you pop back up above 168. You know, end of the day, where'd you end up here on AMD? Pushing into 171. Yeah, basically 171 at the end of the day. So again, if you're not following on Twitter, I recommend doing so you can get all the information, updates throughout the day as well. Try to keep you guys as posted as possible. But semis look good. You know, it's not just AMD. You have AVGO. Very impressive here, right? Something I called out in Discord, but I got stopped out when really tough. We like this a lot, and then Biden announced some news about Israel-Iran, and then you tanked. But you ended up playing out later on. Didn't get the win. Personally, it was a loss for me, but you ended up popping up and shooting back up. You had that inverted head and shoulders. Looks really good. I think AVG is one of the toughest names out there in semis. NVIDIA, so it looks very impressive, above 125. I think this thing could start working into 128, give or take, to 130, and that's really where you get excited as well. So again, semis as a whole look incredible. The one name that I was trading heavily today in Discord was Meta. And again, I want to give you guys an example of what you're really looking for here on these names, a bulk of the time, what I look for personally. So really quickly going to the 1 hour to make it very simple. I'm always looking for that all-time high breakout or the break and retest of resistances. And again, this is what we traded today in Discord. It was very, very simple. There was no super complex, methodology or what we're looking at there. But again, when you look at this action here, we were trading here on Meta, just really quickly when we called it out. Yeah, back here, you had the pin it. You were clearly breaking and retesting our previous highs. You had the breakout going. We were just looking for, going long, stops under VWAP. First target, take half off near all-time highs, and then let the rest run. And that's really that simple sometimes. And that's all we really did here on Meta. And obviously the rest is history, and you just grind it above that 5-minute 9 EMA. Again, if you haven't watched that video, probably go watch it. You stood above it for the rest of the day. No reason to really get out of position, hit stops, or anything like that. So again, focus on those strong names. That's where you're going to really make the easy money. That's why AMD too, like even near, we got some pullbacks near the end of the day. AMD afternoon, held up. Didn't really get a pullback. Even though the Nasdaq afternoon did have a pullback. You can really go see, like the Nasdaq pushed up and then dropped back down a little bit to 20,090 and then popped up, right? So it's worth mentioning these names are inherently strong. Now, strong names I'm looking at going into this coming week, and I think have to get you excited. Number one, I think ARMs should be on the top of everyone's list. I've been saying it. Below 136, you go short. Above 136, it's a long. You held it clearly there. You never got a break or a retest, so no reason to go short. Again, you're looking for that break into 149, above 149. That's when fireworks can start going off there. Excited about that. Tesla, I'm steering clear, not interested. You almost got your 200 SMA touch yesterday. It would have been beautiful, but we did not get it. Apple, if the market does turn bearish under 224, it's a hammer of a short if you can hold below there. CrowdStrike, I've been very adamant about this one as well. Getting that retest of 278, 277 was a clear long opportunity. Getting back above 286 is very nice. I'm targeting back into 305. You have about $10, $13 of upside here. So definitely like CrowdStrike as well. Very strong name. Again, I've been saying it's undervalued as it gets. So yeah. Amazon, I'm not long on it yet, but above 188.7, it is a clear-cut long. That is your high from 2021. So the second you get above 188.7, it is a long into 192, and then hopefully 196, back into that all-time high range. So again, not really changing anything up there. Also, too, for anyone interested right now, guy in Discord, AWOL, has been killing it with Exxon and these energy names, okay? A long time ago, do you remember, I think it was back in June, July, told everyone to the end of the year, the best hedge on your entire account would be oil names, specifically Exxon, 120 calls. Discord specifically, I said this. So it's a long time ago. Well, Exxon's finally breaking out of that massive ascending triangle. Everyone's kind of surprised. Now, again, some of the luck was played out with this. You timed it perfectly if you had it still with the Israel-Iran conflict. But again, the best hedge overall in the market. Exxon's exploding. It's the best energy name out there. There's not really a close second. If I had to say anything else that might have some value, Chevron, once it gets over 153. The West Texas names are a little bit sketchy, but very volatile. I mentioned Fang and Diamondback a few days ago. Once it got over 187, it was really nice. Devon Energy, again, you have massive resistance at your 200 and weekly and 200 daily. So be careful there. I'm not looking to go like super long into those. But overall, those are the big names I'm looking at. I still think China stocks also are a buy on the dip. You're not really getting a dip here, and you're pushing into your target, the 200 weekly. So be careful there. But another thing I'm going to say here about China names, I'm not going to be surprised if we get another pop off here. You have a clear flat top developing here basically for this week. It's worth mentioning as well, Chinese market is basically closed. If you don't know this, they have a major holiday for like the past week, and you're just making higher lows here as well. I do think that this will reignite probably going into this week and at least get that pushed into 120. I'd be surprised if you didn't hit 120 as well. But again, very interesting as a whole. They all look very, very strong. PDD, Baidu, etc. PD looks incredible, mounting over 153. You break over this, you're probably just running like a madman, back in near all-time highs. I'm going to let you know that. I'd be targeting 170 and then all-time highs after that. But again, Chinese names still longs in my opinion. They're overly stimulating their economy, so that's what you want to see. Have a good one, guys. I'll see you either tomorrow or Sunday. Again, the links are down below if you're interested in Discord, anything along those lines. Twitter. If you want to see our day trading indicators as well, those links are also down below. Premium, discount zones, etc. Our volume indicator with Lux Algo, so make sure you check that out as well. There's like some special sales or something. You can use code OD40 for 40% off. So have a good one, guys.